Hey, this is Matt Boldy, and you're listening to Locked On Wild.
Hey, this is Marcus Foligno, and you're listening to Locked On Wild.
You're Locked On Wild, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Wild. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. You know what time it is. We're going with a little pregame edition of the show here tonight. And so without further ado, let's turn it over to the man of the hour. Denny, good evening.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to What the Hell Are You Smoking? For tonight's show, first I'm going to talk a little bit about Winnipeg. And then get into some trades that I think are possible. And we'll just take it from there. To begin with, when you look at Winnipeg and who they added at the beginning of the season, Gustav Nyquist for one, and Jonathan Toews is another. Well, Toews is playing second-line center for Winnipeg, and he has a total of 16 points. And he's had 10 points in the last 7 games. So that kind of tells you the depth that Winnipeg has, which is none. And that's why they're in last place. I don't know what they're thinking, but it's showing. And, Winnipeg's in a bad spot right now. And I looked at some possible trades with them, but we don't have a history with Winnipeg at all, really, other than picking up who's the defenseman we got on waivers?
Chisholm.
Yeah, that's it. We don't do much with Winnipeg, so I don't see anything happening there. But as far as trade possibilities, now that Shesterkin has gone from New York, it's almost a sure bet that New York is going to make some trades. And, of course, I see all the podcasters are now talking about we need a first-line center. It's about time they got with it because I've been talking about this for a month. Vincent Trocheck. He's got a good contract. He would be an immediate – he addresses our needs. He fills in all the boxes. He's good on the dot. He's hardworking. He's a lunch pail type of a center. And then I thought about it. The Wild really need 2 players to be a real cup contender that could win. And so I'm adding Panarin to the Trocheck deal. Now, Panarin, we definitely can't afford it from next year. He would certainly be a rental. But would he be worth it? I mean, he's a stud. Let's face it. He's 80 points all day long every year. The question is, what would you have to give up for a rental? And I would like the thoughts from the fans out there, what you think, so at the end of the show we can go over it. And then Nashville's back on the scene. 440 Sports, I think it was called, talked about he's open for suggestions for trades. He doesn't believe that they have a team that can go anywhere the way it's situated. And, Ryan O'Reilly, who was my very first pick when this all started, when they were down at the bottom, is still my first pick, besides Trocheck. He's got a $4.5 million contract. He's got 39 points in 45 games. And he fits the dot. He's good on the dot. And he's absolutely a first-line center. I know a lot of people have said that he's not, but he really is. He's a great player, and he would really help the Wild. And then I also looked at Forsberg, but he's got an $8.5 million contract with no trade period, and his contract kind of puts me off unless they want to take some money. But he'd be another one that I would look at because we need a couple of players. JoJo's gone back to being JoJo. Tarasenko, as Seth talked about on an earlier show, has kind of lost his way again. And for the playoffs, you got to know that they're going to show up and play. And JoJo is becoming the JoJo we all know so well for the last couple of years. He had his moment in the sun, and now it seems to be gone again. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's just a head case or he's hurt or whatever, but he's kind of disappeared again, and that's disappointing. Because with him, Brodin and Neck, that was one hell of a line, as Seth has said. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts on it, but I really think if I was going to do something, Ryan O'Reilly and Trocheck would be my first two to trade for, because you can never have too many centers. You know, center can play wing too. So I don't know what you guys have thought on that, but that's who I would go after. You know, and the thing with New York Rangers is Chris Drury is on the Olympic team with Billy. So you know they're talking. And that's why I think Vincent Trocheck really should be the number one on the books, because you know they're talking back and forth. And now if they lost Shesterkin, it's a good time to make, because, you know, New York doesn't have much in the farm system. So this is what I'm proposing for the trade. And this is for Panarin and Trocheck. First, second, third, Starmer, and 3 players. I don't know what you guys think, but I'd like your thoughts on it, because that would be a good deal for them, and it'd be a good deal for us. Even though Panarin would just be a rental, he'd be a very nice rental to have for the playoffs. When you got a stud like that, he would be replacing JoJo, by the way. That would be one hell of a lineup. And now I want to talk about Kirill a little bit. You know, I've been noticing this for about the last couple of weeks or so, other than a couple of games. He's not skating like he can. And, you know, not the New Jersey game. What was the game before that, Seth?
Islanders.
The Islanders. He had 8 shots on goal with no goals. Well, you know, when you shoot 8 times a game, you're going to score a lot of points. You know, their goalie stole the game, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, those things happen. But his last game against New Jersey, their entire first line had 1 shot on goal for the entire game. That's unacceptable. That can't happen. It used to be called Kirill the Thrill. Now it's just Kirill, and what the hell's going on? He's got to put the team on his back and carry it forward. I mean, I talked to Seth about this earlier, you know, when the Twins were playing against Atlanta and they're down 3-2, and Kirby Puck says, "I'm putting you on my back and we're going." And that's what he did. And that's what Kirill has to do. He's got to put the team on his back and go forward until we get some help. Because we got a hell of a team. We're a couple pieces short. And it really shows with that out. I mean, we're a little light in center. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but Kirill is not playing 100% in my opinion. I mean, you watch him skate, it's not the Kirill that we've all grown up and loved. I don't think he's putting in 100% effort. I'll just put it that way. What do you think, Seth?
I don't think he's putting in 50% effort.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, anything could be happening. He may be a little banged up, which I'm sure he is, because all players at this time of the year are banged up. But I think there's something more to it, because he's just not playing the way we've watched him play all these years. I don't know what's going on with that, but he needs to address it and look deep down inside and get his mind right, because he's not playing the way we know he can play. You don't see any edge work from him hardly at all, you know, and he's got the best edge work in the league when he wants to play. For the last 3-4 years, there's nobody has better edge work. Cale McCarver's close second, maybe. But you're not seeing that now. I don't. Maybe there's something wrong with him. I don't know. And he's not just talking about, but somebody has to address it.
I think the phrase is pull your head out of your, you know what.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Any questions or comments from the trade proposal?
I'll weigh in on the Trocheck Panarin side. The Wild, I think, would have to have someone included in that trade off of the NHL roster. As far as salary goes, but just for roster too. Like, you got a lot of guys that are NHL players that would not be in position to be benched or sent down to Iowa. So I think it would make sense, and you could mitigate some of the prospect cost by sending an NHL player back the other way. That would help with salary cap, that would help with prospects, and that would help with just the roster in general.
Well, that leads to Europe then. And the question
I'm
is,
thinking Hartman.
I don't know if anybody wants Hartman.
I think there's a good enough market for. I think Ryan Hartman would be. Now, if you were going to try to do Foligno, no. Tarasenko, no. I think Hartman would have enough of a market that he would be.
That's a good point.
He'd be somebody that teams would be willing to take back. The contract is $4 million for a guy like that who can play center, can play wing. He gives you good defense and
good versatility.
Yeah, he's got 12 goals right now. He can play up and down the lineup. That would be something that a team would be willing to take on in return.
Oh, that's a good point. Let me think, because players like Hartman and Foligno, you really need in the playoffs. You need your grinders. You don't win games with just superstars. You got to have the people that do the dirty work, and they're both very good at that. And Foligno's having kind of a tough year, but that last game where I forget who he laid out, but he just crunched him. It was a beautiful hit. Nothing dirty about it. He just laid him out. And you could see Foligno was smiling. That was good. But you need your grinders, and everything I talk about is for the playoffs, where you don't have as much time, a lot less space, and a lot more hitting. And that's why you need players like Hartman and Foligno on the team. You got to have those kind of players to win a championship. And that's all I'm worried about. That's all I'm concerned about, is going for the cup. Regular season is regular season, so all fine and dandy, but it's a different game in the playoffs, as we all know. Any questions or comments?
Several. Can we clarify on what the plan for Tuesday? Nathan wants to know, is Tuesday is Tuesday your birthday game?
Oh, yes, it is. January 27th against the Chicago Blackhawks. I will be at Zambonis. I suppose we'll get there about 5:30 or so. And I think Bob has rented the back for the birthday party. If anybody shows up, I have no idea. But, last year we had 6 people come. And I gave Amanda a free ticket just because she came to go to the game, which was awesome because she's a hell of a person. And it was this year, I got another surprise, but I'm not telling you what it is. But I guess Bob is rented some, or not rented, but reserved some space in the back for us. So that'll be cool. I'm really looking forward to it, because I think we may have 7-8 people come this year. I don't know. But 7:30 for the 7 o'clock game against Chicago Blackhawks, 5:30 at Zambonis. I'll be there. Next.
Let's talk about the big news of the day with Jonas Brodin getting put on injured reserve. I'm just gonna say it right off the bat. I think you look to move him in the offseason at the latest.
Unfortunately, age is catching up with him, and it happens to everybody. And, he's always been injury prone. Let's just hope he's good for the playoffs. One last run and see him retire at the end of the year. He's getting hurt so much now. And, they don't tell you what's wrong with him, but it's got to be a core injury or a bad bruise. Because, in the last game, he did not look good. I don't know if you followed how Brodin played, but he was not the Brodin that we all know when he's healthy. So I agree. It'll be time to move him after the year's up. Because I don't think he has much trade value right now being hurt. But we'll see. Next.
I'm going to go back to the Ryan O'Reilly and bring Howla back as well. Thomas Hines says it solves the bottom six also.
Yeah, I looked at Eric Halla too. He's an original Minnesota Wild. In fact, we kept Eric Halla instead of Alex Tuck. We let Vegas take Tuck so we could keep Eric Halla because he had a good season for us. And he was brand new, and they were thinking that things are just going to take off with him. So I can understand your reasoning. But they made a bad one, not a good decision on Allen because look how Tuck has turned out. He's just a beast. But yeah, I like Eric Halla would really cement the bottom six. I like your thought there. And I don't think he has a bad contract. I don't know what his contract is now. Because he's bottom six in Nashville too, I think. Third line, I believe.
It can't be anything crazy. I'm pulling it up right now. 3.15. Good God.
Yeah, there you go.
3.15 in a 6-team no trade list.
Well, I think he would be available. He would be a good pickup. But we need 2 top 6. Of course, we need a first line center. And either Panarin or I looked at Forsberg too in Nashville. He's got an $8.5 million contract with no trade. And I don't know if he'd give it up because a lot of people like playing for Nashville. Number one, Nashville has no tax, no state income tax. So players like playing there because they get to keep their money. That's a hard thing to overcome. And I think you're gonna see a lot more of that in the future, where teams are going to be at a real disadvantage in the NHL because of the tax situation. You look at Vegas, you look at Tennessee, you look at Florida, Texas. They don't have any income tax, and that's something I think the NHL in the future is going to have to deal with, simply because it's such a big advantage. That's my thoughts. Next question.
Trav adds this comment: if the Wild go into the playoffs with Zuccarello and Yurov on the first line, it will be a one and done.
I agree. I agree completely. Yurov is not a first line center. He's a third line center learning the game in the NHL. He's doing well. I mean, he's improved significantly since he started, but he's not nowhere near a first line center. And maybe that's why Kaprizov has fallen off. We need to give Kaprizov some help. And that's why I've been saying for over a month now, we need a first line center. And I got a comment back from somebody saying they don't trade first line centers. Yeah, they do. It's just a matter of what you want to give to get one. In a trade in this situation, you have to give them to what they can't say no to. And my trade package that I got for Trocheck and Panarin, that's 7 pieces. That's a lot to give up, but it's worth it. If you look at it in the long run, I mean, we're all in now. So Billy has to look at it that way. And I'm sure he is. And being that he's with the Olympics and Chris Drury and the Rangers, they got to be talking. That's why I'm thinking it's pretty much going to be Trocheck. And I hope they get Panarin because we can afford him this year. We can't afford him next year. But he'd be a hell of a rental. Next question.
Let's go to this one. Denny, Devin says, you're not the first to point out Kirill's play. However, we're being told by other hockey podcasts it's not an issue.
Why isn't it an issue? When you have one shot on goal for the first line?
I think the point he's making is that other shows are trying to tell listeners that it's not a problem.
To me, it's a problem.
Yeah. I've been one that has stupidly said it's not a problem, but it clearly is.
When you only have one shot for the first line in the whole game, that's a huge problem. I don't care how much you want to candy coat. That's a huge problem. And I'm sure Kaprizov knows this. I mean, I don't know what the deal is because we had no first line.
Had no second line or third or fourth.
Or fourth. Yeah. Because New Jersey is not a bad team. They got a lot of talent. And, I looked at getting Hughes earlier, but I don't think New Jersey's trading anybody. What are they, 4-5 points out of the standings for the playoffs?
In that area.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that are just really close. So other than the New York Rangers and the Anaheim Ducks, and I looked at the Ducks too. And, Dostal, who was a phenomenal goalie last year, can't stop a puck this year. I don't know what's happened, but he's not playing good at all. And that's what Anaheim's dealing with. I mean, the team hasn't changed that much, but Dostal has just become a very average, below average goalie. And I don't know what they're going to do about that, but I'm hearing, Seth brought it up earlier on his show, and I've seen it on a couple other podcasts about trading Wallstedt. There is no way in hell I'd be trading Wallstedt or Gus Bus. You need two goalies. We have the best pair in the league, and there's absolutely – you would have to give me McKinnon, McDavid, or Celebrini to get Jesper. That's how much I think of them. And they're not going to trade them. You're never going to get the value for Jesper. I mean, he's the goalie of our future. And I told you a long time ago, he's a very special goalie. And you can't, you're going to have games like New Jersey but he got hung out to dry. And, when you're not playing hockey and they're just freewheeling on you, it's hard to, those things are going to happen. But I would never trade Jesper Wallstedt. Never. Or Gus Bus. We need two goalies to go to the cup. You can't do it with, some teams have to do it with one, but we're so much better off having two goalies. And we're never going to get what I expect for Jesper. I mean, he would have to be a very special player. Like I said, McKinnon, Celebrini, or McDavid to pry Jesper for me. I just wouldn't do it.
In the episode, I said you would need assurances. You'd need a couple of assurances. Number one being that it was a bona fide. About the only way that I would do it is if it was for a tried and true 1C.
Yeah.
And I would want that player to have term. So you're not getting him for 2 years. I'd want 4 or 5. And I can understand why the Wild moved Zeev, because they were bringing his replacement back in return. You would not be bringing a goalie back in this trade.
Nope. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I would never do it. And I guess Zeev just got shipped down to the minors. Is that what happened, Seth?
I had seen that he got healthy scratched.
I got see a lot of this Canadian podcasts, they just put up whatever to get it's clickbait. Because I saw that he got sent to the minors too, and wow, what a difference, huh?
Oh, I can't possibly imagine who you would be talking about. Is there a certain Canadian show that covers the Minnesota Wilds on a daily basis?
And Boston and Montreal. Oh God! One day I'm going to tell everybody what the Wild Digest did in the beginning. As you, most of you may not know this, but they cover a lot of teams in Boston and Montreal. And I saw one interviewer or one show where he's saying Montreal has this big deal worked out with Minnesota. And then you saw the Minnesota podcast and, oh, we're getting a big deal from Montreal. It's all bullshit. And I called them on it. And of course, I didn't get no answer. But that's the kind of stuff you look at with Wild Digest. And then they call up somebody from Iowa Wild. Oh, huge deal. We're coming aboard. That's all clickbait. Of course, it's working because they get a lot of views. And they do serve a purpose. I mean, they do go over the daily stuff every day. But you got to understand what they're giving you. It's just from everybody else. It's nothing on their own. But there's a place for them, I guess.
Yeah.
Next question.
For those that prefer 10-minute videos, that's the wheelhouse right there.
Yeah. And they're good at it.
What about a couple of people asking about Robert Thomas?
He's on injured reserve now.
Okay.
I looked at him. He's not going anywhere, and it doesn't look good for him, to be honest. Probably won't see him the rest of the year from what I've been reading. Of course, you don't know about how the NHL does. So lower body injury. There you go. But he's on injured reserve, so.
That's too bad because St. Louis was playing their best hockey of the year. They were 4-6 in their last 10 games.
Yeah. Now they do have a couple other players. I really like Kyrou.
If cost were no object, Kyrou would be my first choice.
Yeah. Well, and we don't really have much of a pass with St. Louis as far as trades. And of course, they have that new GM and they got a new coach. So I don't know what they're thinking about for a trade, but we don't have much pass with St. Louis as far as trading. And I also looked at San Jose, who's playing some phenomenal hockey. And, at the beginning of the season, I told you Wallstead for the Calder, along with Demidov in Montreal. And who did I pick for? I picked somebody from Chicago, too. God, I can't remember his name now. He's a Minnesota boy. Defenseman.
Oh, yeah. What is... Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I thought he would be a potential for the... And then the goalie for San Jose, what's his name?
Yaroslav Askarov.
Askarov, yes. Boy, he's playing lights out hockey. He can steal a game also. Between him and Celebrini, San Jose is building one hell of a team. It's taken him a few years to get there, but, Celebrini is top 5 player right now. He's replaced Kaprizov. And it's not even close. He's that good. I mean, I like watching San Jose. And, boy, he reminds me of Kaprizov when he first started with us. I mean, he's everywhere on ice. God, he's skating, shooting, he does it all. He has no weaknesses. And he's, 19 years old? It's amazing. God. Next question or comment?
We have a couple people asking if we would trade Jesper, who is our backup in the organization? And the quick answer to that is Cal Peterson.
Please. He's not a backup. He's where he needs to be. He's filling a hole in Iowa where he should be.
The other player that they have that is still kind of a work in progress is Samuel Levi, who I like to call the Leviathan. I'd like to see that nickname get traction, so let's do that. He's participating in the Olympics, but he is not. He's not close to being ready for NHL play.
Yeah, he's a couple years away at least.
Yeah.
When we saw him at the tryout camp, he looked, he's got it all. He's big, he's fast. He just has to learn to read the play of the game because he's got good instincts. It's just a matter of learning the game at this level. And he's a few years away from that. That's why Wallstead is so good, because he reads the play so well. He doesn't flop around. He meets just about everybody head on. And that's why he's so good. I told you last week, I saw that he wasn't coming out of the net to confront the shooter. Well, those things happen with goalies all the time. I mean, year in and year out, I always see goalies going through this. And I'm sure he saw it in tape and say, oh, yeah, I got to come out to meet this. Because he just gave him too much space. Next question.
Just a couple points of clarification, too. Thank you to Trav for mentioning that Hartsey has a 15-team no trade. So depending on his list, if the Rangers were on it, he would have to waive if he was to be included in a deal. And again, I don't know. I don't know that, because I've seen Hartman mentioned a lot as far as on the block. I'll maintain, I think Bill Guerin does that just to drum up conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
He puts Hartman on the block, and then he says, oh, well, what do you think about this? I don't know if we're really going to do Hartman. What do you think about this? And just to get the conversation going.
In my experience, GMs have been doing this forever. They'll float out a player for a trade just to see what they can get for him. They don't have any intention of trading him, but they want to see what they think he's worth. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's part of the game.
This one is interesting. We got to talk about this. Trevor Zegras, who is going to be a restricted free agent. He's on pace for 30 goals with the Flyers. He was pretty vocal about the fact that he wanted to get to somewhere where there were, quote, 4 seasons, as opposed to just being in California all the time. Wanted to get to more of a hockey market. Philly's a pretty good spot to go. Philly is, I think they're in a playoff spot right now, but I don't know if they have a firm hold.
Yeah, they are.
They are currently 2 points out. But again, there's so much jockeying going on in the Eastern Conference as far as the wild card goes. It doesn't pay. It just in the hunt is what I'll say with those East teams, because they fall in and out every day.
Yep. And Trevor Zegras is, would you call him a first-line center, Seth?
I'd like to.
Well, he was open at the beginning of the year, and being that they consider him a first-line center, Philly traded for him. They didn't play him the right way in California or Anaheim. And he was just tired of it. He pretty much let him know. But, I had somebody comment on another show that you don't get first-line centers. Yeah, you do. It happens all the time. Not as much as, other players, but first-line centers become available. It all depends on the situation.
Yeah.
And, right now, I would say Trocheck has got to be at the top of the list. He's not a first-line center for New York, but he would be our first-line center here, and he would be a damn good one. You know, they got Zinabad or whatever his name is.
Mika Zibanejad.
Yeah. I don't think he's available, but I absolutely think Trocheck is on his way, even though there's not been a word about him.
Yeah.
But
well, that's why he's on the Olympic team.
Yeah, I think so. And so I really think that's going to be Billy's next move. But if we can get Ryan O'Reilly too, I'm all over that. Just think of how deep we'd be down the middle then. Trocheck, Eck, Ryan O'Reilly. Yeah.
It'd be pretty good.
That's a cup winning team right there. oh my God.
Want to take a break?
No. I just gotta move my pillows.
No problem.
Okay. Sorry about that, folks.
Okay. Trav points out as well, Zuccarello is familiar with all those guys. So if they had any questions about Minnesota, he'd be able to answer.
That's a good point.
Could do a little recruiting.
I don't know, the way it looks, I see Trocheck as number one.
Yeah.
And if Ryan O'Reilly's back on the market, I would definitely go after him too. It just makes sense. $4.5 million contract. And he does everything the right way, 55% or more on the dot. Those are things that we need. I mean, and I've talked about this a lot. I see other podcasters are now starting to talk about, well, when you get in the playoffs, you got to win the faceoffs. You can't be chasing the puck. And look at how many goals get scored on us from losing the draw on the power play. We get scored all the time on. And that's why we need somebody. You know, Eck is our best, and he's not even 50% right now, is he?
He's like 48.
Yeah, that's not good enough. You got to have somebody who you know can win the draw. And at 48%, that's not near enough. That's why it's a big weakness for us, because when it comes to playoff time, you got to win the puck. You can't be chasing. You got to be leading. You know, I know I'm always talking about the playoffs, but it's a different game in the playoffs than it is in regular season. And as I'm sure most of you know, because you have a lot less time to move. And that's why Boldy is so good, because he can create space when there is none. And that's why he's become so good. He's honed his craft. He was always pretty good at it, but now he's excellent. That's why he's the player he is. Next question.
Thomas Hines says you'd have a better shot at O'Reilly and Stamkos over O'Reilly and Trocheck. Probably for the combo platter. I still maintain that I think you got to get two centers.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe if you got to get one bona fide center. If you get somebody that can play center and wing, fine. But your top center has started to develop a little bit of an injury history. And if you have no backup plan, if your backup plan is going into the playoffs with Danila Yurov as your 1C, adios.
Yep. Yeah, the more I think about it, I like the O'Reilly and Trocheck. That would really make us a formidable team.
And neither of those contracts are going to kill you. I mean, Trocheck's 5.625, O'Reilly in the 4s. That's like one player at 9.
Yeah.
Somebody had asked about the Mika Zibanejad contract. He's making 8.5 every year until 2030. JT Miller's making 8 every year until 2030. Those are trickier to fit on the books.
Well, I read somewhere that they expect the Wild to have 12 million at trade deadline. I don't know if that's true or not. Seth would know.
Deadline cap space projected at 9, according to Puckpedia right now, but that moves on a daily basis.
Well, yeah. Either way, we could afford those two. Either way you look at it. And of course, if the money isn't right, you can always make a deal for the money too. I mean, it's not a big deal. Next question or comment.
What are your thoughts on moving Boldy to 1C and going and getting a winger or two, which are easier to find on the market?
Yeah, when Boldy's first year, he played, he took a lot of draws and he was pretty good. He's like 54, 55%. But he's dropped down considerably since then. But they didn't play him at center, so he doesn't take that many draws. I mean, ideally, they're looking at some ways to compensate right now because they're, they have no centers. And that's why they're using Boldy as center. Ideally, you don't really want him at center, though. I mean, he's a great wing. But if you had to, you're not missing that much. I can see why they're doing it because he has been pretty good in the dot. And he's playing a two-way game now. There's no little lollygagging up and down the ice like last year. And, he's become just a complete player. And that's, right now, he's our best player. He puts his heart and soul into every game, and you can see it. You may not get the rewards for it, but you can see that he puts in the time and effort. And that's one thing I don't see from Kaprizov right now. And that's discouraging. I just hope he figures out that this is his team and he has to take it forward, honestly. Okay, next question.
Can we give Jerry Mayhew one night at 4C just one more time? After the Wild clinch, then yes, I don't care what they do.
Oh, which reminds me, I got to say congratulations, Ben Jones. Finally getting his first goal. Unbelievable. But nobody deserves it more than Ben. So congratulations, Ben. Hats off to you. You finally got it.
I'm glad that is over because I ragged on him a lot and I felt bad doing it every time. But,
Yeah.
Got to produce.
Speaking of questions or comments.
Yeah, speaking of bottom six centers, did you see Murat Huznadinov's 4-goal game the other day?
Yeah, imagine that. My thoughts on that trade. We gave him away for nothing. He's a kid who didn't get, I've gone over this 100 times about Hines. He doesn't like the kids, and he puts them in a position that they don't succeed. And look what happens. Goes to Boston, and, now he's playing really good hockey. That's my only, because I tell you, Hines is doing everything right now. He's pressing all the right buttons. He's putting up pretty good lineups. It's just his disdain for the rookies that I don't care for. And, at the beginning of the season, I talked about it a lot. A lot of people got pissed at me for it, but he doesn't like rookies. He doesn't like the kids. And it is what it is. I got to deal with it. And I do. So I just don't talk about it anymore.
9 goals for Murat, 20 points. He's playing 14 minutes a night. He's playing on the power play. He's 47.9% in the dot, mostly playing wing. Thriving.
Yeah, he's playing good hockey. He is given a chance, and he's rewarded him for that. where he wasn't here. And I'm happy for him. And then you look at who do we trade for? Brazil.
Yeah.
He's scoring goals night in and night out for Pittsburgh. I mean, we got Brazil to be a big body, big player for checking. And that was never Brazil's game. And now Pittsburgh, they're letting him play, and he's one hell of a player for him. That's just coaching philosophies, different coaching. Because
career high 12 goals for Justin Brazeau.
Yeah. What do you have with us? One?
Yeah, one goal, 2 points in 19 games.
Yeah, there you go. Next question. Or comment.
Let's go to this one from Bob. Things change when you see a cup possibility. Do you think Marchand was eyeing Florida prior to last season? The Wild are a destination now with a cup pursuit possible.
Oh, absolutely. I think Minnesota is absolutely a destination to come to. We got when we got Hughes, that changes everything.
Yeah,
it really did. I mean, as I've said before, Billy has made the best trade in Wild history for Hughes, and his legacy in Minnesota Wild hockey will go down just as the best trade ever. Can't fault it for anything. You really can't. But yeah, Minnesota is definitely a destination to come to, and anybody all NHL players want to win the cup. That's why they play, and they get a shot to go to a team that's going for the cup. I would say 9 times out of 10 they're going to say, "Hell yeah, send me." Next question or comment.
Apparently Brazeau has cooled off considerably after a hot start. He had like 6 goals in the first week of the season, and he has finally leveled off, I guess. Just had to get to that career high of 12, and then that was enough.
Well, he got hurt too. You got to remember that. He just came back last week, I think. But, you look at Pittsburgh, who everybody thought was pretty much a last place team. And you look at the coach, who I really wish the Wild would have looked at and hired, was Todd Nelson. And look what he's done for that team already. And he's just an assistant. So he's one that we could look at getting in the future. I'm telling you, Todd Nelson's a winner. He's right at the plane of David Carl. Same thing. They're both winners. And, in the future when Hines' time is up, I certainly hope they go after him. Next.
Parisi comes out of retirement and begs Billy for a roster spot.
He just got inducted in the Hall of Fame, and good for him. He deserves it. God, that's a good one. Was that it?
One from N Swan. Seth talked about trading Jesper in an earlier video. What are the players you'd be looking at if you are dangling him? Again, it's got to be it has to be a bona fide 100% 1C. There can't be any question. It can't be like a 2C that can play up. It's got to be a 1C. Period, point blank, end of sentence.
Which isn't going to happen. That's dreaming. All right, everybody. I got to lay down. We got to end the show.
All right.
My butt's just killing me. I can hardly sit here right now. It hurts so bad. So we'll end the show now. Now, what's next week's date? Next Monday?
Let me just check. just make sure that I don't have a game. I don't think I do, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
January. I do not have a game on Monday night, so Monday night it is.
Monday night at 8:00, folks. Everybody, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming to listen to me rant and rave with Seth. I really appreciate it. And I can tell you, update. I got a new laptop. And I'm waiting for somebody to come down to help me get it set up, because last time I tried doing it, I froze it up and I had to give it back to him because I have no clue. But I do have a new laptop. I do have the AI program. So things are getting very close. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to blow you away when you get to see what I'm doing. And with that, I don't have anybody to talk bad about this week. I didn't see any comments that were worth it. So there is no what the hell are you smoking this week. But,
Smokeless tonight.
Yeah. We will see you next Monday night. And hopefully I'll have a better show for you. All depends on what's going on. I hate talking about what everybody else talks about. So with that, I'm saying good night. Thanks, everybody.